So the things that I want to have with me is I'm going to have something to quench it with. So I have a cup of cold water. This was the cup that had the soapy water in it that I was checking the leaks for the valves. I have a striker out here. I have a pair of pliers. Reality is, this shouldn't get very hot during this process because I'm keeping all my heat down here. But I can grab this then afterwards with the pliers and then dip it right into the water. So that'll cool it off. So I have that sitting out here. I have gloves out here in case I want to wear those. You're not going to wear those during the heating process and the brazing, but if afterwards you feel more comfortable with the pliers to use those, you're welcome to do that. Okay? You want to make sure that your hose is not going to be where you're going to be tripping on it as you're moving, because I'm going to heat this side, and I'll come to this side and heat this side. We have a small bolt, and we have a thick 3/8 by 3/8 material here. So focus the heat on the thicker portion of it, because just through osmosis it's going to be heating up the bolt at the same time. So rather than focus it on the bolt, focus on the 3/8 material, and it'll work itself through. Okay? All right. This is called a striker. So the striker just has an abrasive in there with a flint, and that gives us our spark that we need to light this. Please don't just play with this just because it's fun. Certainly it's fun, but go out and get your own and play with it at home. We'll go through flints too quickly if we're out here just messing around with it the entire time. So please just use it to strike the material, or strike the gases. When we strike, we're not going to hold our striker like this. If we send gases into this cavity here, then they're going to come right back, so we can get a flash back at us by doing that. So when we hold the striker, we hold it in line with it, so that it feels the sparks and still has area for the flame to go past and not back towards us. That's important. Okay? All right. I have two hoses here. I have my red one that's attached to my acetylene tank, and I have my green one which is attached to my oxygen. Acetylene is flammable. Oxygen is not. Oxygen is feeding that acetylene, it's getting us to a higher temperature, it's allowing us to heat more quickly. Okay? So I'm going to turn on my acetylene. And when I turn it on, I'm going to turn it on that much, about 1/8 of a turn. So I'll turn that on first. And I'll light it. You can see if I had this on too high, my acetylene might look like that. I want to bring it back down so that I'm still in contact with the tip. If we go farther away, you can see how the flame is not even touching where the tip is anymore because I have just too much push on there. I want to bring it back. I want the flame to come back to the tip, and this is what I want it to look like. You're going to see all this carbon coming up in the air from that tip, which will go away as I introduce the oxygen. When I introduce the oxygen, it's going to be also extremely light. If I put too much oxygen, I'll just blow out the candle. So I have to introduce it very slowly. So you see how I hardly introduced that. Now I have this blue tip on here. We want to get this to a hiss, a small hiss. So I'm going to give a little more acetylene, a little more oxygen, a little more acetylene, a little more oxygen. And now we can hear that hiss, right? Right? You can hear that hiss coming off it now. That's about where we want to be. And we want to be heating it up with the tip of that blue flame there. I have safety glasses on, obviously, but the safety glasses that I have on are tinted because this is quite a bright light. And as we get closer to the material there, it's going to yellow up on us, orange up on us. It's going to be even brighter. So we're going to wear shaded glasses for this. 5 shades sufficient. Okay? So I'm going to get my brazing rod in my left hand, and I'm going to heat with my right hand. I'll come to this side first so you can see it releasing. My tip's getting a little big there. I'm going to give a little more oxygen. Now I'm going to heat this up. Mr. Kelly, you're going to want to keep, as I bring the brazing rod in, keep your head back a little bit. Sometimes it will crackle, which is why we're wearing an apron here. So I'm looking to get this 3/8 by 3/8. You can see that bolt, I can get that cherry red in no time right now. But around here I'm starting to get that cherry red. I'm going to bring it over to the other side a little bit. So now I'll go ahead and I'm going to burn some of that flux into my location and heat up that brazing rod. Do we see how the brazing rod pulled that in there? Now, that's enough braze that I can kind of work it around the area here. I'm going to work it through underneath the gap by drawing it over with my heat. Work under my bolt a little bit here and across the side of my bolt. Try to bring it over a little bit. Now I'll put a little bit more braze on the opposite side. And I want to bring all of that material down in. So you can see how it's encapsulated now with that material. I'm going to go to the other side and do the same thing. Make sure it's heated up, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring that in. If we hear a snap, that means that we're overheating things. When am I done? I'm done when I can visually inspect it and see that everywhere around the bolt, all those gaps have been filled up with my material here. And if you want, you can go back over the things and just kind of look at it and make sure everything is filled in. It's not necessary to fill them in completely where we have so much nickel on there that we've entirely filled all the voids, that they're flush with the outside of the 3/8 material. When I turn it off, I turned off my acetylene first. So let me show you that again. So I'm going to turn this on again. My acetylene, just to click just a little bit and light it. My oxygen. Get it to a hiss. And when I turn it off, I have my red line first. My acetylene turns off. So I still have oxygen flowing out of this. Now I turn that off afterwards. When we turn it on, we're lighting our flammable one first. So we're turning the oxygen on, acetylene on first rather, acetylene first, lighting it, and then bringing the oxygen into it. When we turn it off, we turn off the one that's burning first. We turn the acetylene off, then we turn off the oxygen. And then that's shut down. I can set my torch over here, and I can feel this is not hot. Okay, it shouldn't be. I was working down here. I'll loosen this up. And it's kind of dramatic when I set it in here. It's going to bubble up a little bit. And that water is going to heat up very quickly. So if my coffee's going down, I may ask you guys to go ahead and put your piece into my coffee to get it back up to temperature so it tastes good again. I'm kidding, I will not do that. But in doing that also, sometimes the heat will run from this up to the top, so this part does get a little bit more heated. We can set this in for a time being. Now we can go ahead and put the gloves on. We will take the coffee mug. The coffee mugs are located in the corner sink of the room there. Grab one when you're out here doing this. You won't need to do the soap, okay? I did that as a demonstration that that's something that you can do. But anytime the tanks have to be changed, when we need to put a new tank on, that's going to be my responsibility, not yours. So you have to let me know that, Mr. Heck, we see the gauge is down for that. Now I'll come out and I'll fix that for you, okay? So I'm going to take this inside and I'm going to take it to the sink and I'm going to cool it off in there. Once I'm done with that, we'll take a look at it.